Well, Trump's being called out for what some say is a softening of his immigration plan. He's doubling down on calling Hillary Clinton a bigot. Heavy charges have flown between the candidates this week, and in the last 24 hours, this general election battle has been amplified to a whole new level, or low, with accusations from both sides of bigotry. Friday morning, Clinton continued to tie Donald Trump to the alt-right white nationalist movement, and after Trump re-upped his claim that she's done nothing for minority communities. Take a listen.
Well, she is a bigot because you look at what's happening to the inner cities. You look at what's happening to African Americans and Hispanics in this country, where she talks all the time. She's talking, look at the vets, where she said the vets are being treated essentially just fine, that it's over-exaggerated what's happening to the vets not so long ago.
But how is she bigoted? Bigoted is,
because
is having hatred toward a
she's selling
group.
them down the tubes, because she's not doing anything for those communities. She talks a good game,
so
but she doesn't do anything.
She has hatred or
her policies
or
are
dislike of black
bigoted.
people?
Her policies are bigoted because she knows they're not going to work.
A man with a long history of racial discrimination who traffics in dark conspiracy theories drawn from the pages of supermarket tabloids and these kind of white supremacist, white nationalist, anti-Semitic groups should never run our government or command our military. If he doesn't respect all Americans, how can he serve all Americans?
Lis Smith is a Democratic strategist and co-founder of 50 State Communications, and Leslie Sanchez is in our D.C. bureau, and she's a CBS political contributor and Republican strategist. And I'm excited to talk to both of them because this has been an extraordinary week, extraordinary 24 hours in American politics. It reminds me of the old playground adage, I know you are, but what am I, right? So,
it does.
Hillary Clinton, I want to go to you first, Leslie. Hillary Clinton is insinuating that Donald Trump is a racist, and so what does Trump do? Well, he hits back by calling her a bigot. How do you think that's working for him?
It's a race to the bottom. It definitely doesn't help. This period of the election is really about increasing each other's negatives. We saw that coming out of the conventions for both parties last month, and it's accelerating that. In most cases, you're looking for that warm, fuzzy feeling, that strong leadership style. All of that was thrown out the window in 2016. And that's why I think in many cases, voters are becoming desensitized to this hyperbolic language. Does it have an effect? Probably so, but what's interesting about it is not just the caustic language and the nature of it, but the difference in appeals. I think that Donald Trump made a fair point. I don't agree with his messaging, but his fair point about the kind of relationships and policies that the Clintons have had with African Americans. It is not a black and white issue. I turn to people like civil rights icon John Lewis, who has also talked extensively about the frustration he's had and the Black Caucus have had with a lot of the Clinton policies, some of which Hillary Clinton claims credit for. So I think in the weeds there's some truth, but they're really going on emotion.
Yeah, you're totally right. This really is about negativity, not positivity as an approach. If these were two competing soda brands, it wouldn't be drink me, I'm the best. It would be more like the other guy's dishwater. Lis Smith, yeah. I mean, is that approach, that negative tact, going to be helpful for Hillary Clinton, or should she take more, maybe a higher road?
Well, look, I think this is a fight that she welcomes here. And unlike Donald Trump's attacks, hers are backed by facts. I think someone needs to buy Donald Trump a dictionary so he can look up what the definition of a bigot is. But, when she calls him out for being racist, she can cite a number of examples. Look, he is someone who has judged a judge's ability to do his job based on his racial heritage. He is someone who has been sued for housing discrimination against people of color. He is someone who has a long history of incendiary language and racist language. So these are backed by facts. He can't back up his claims of her being a bigot with anything. So look, it is a fight she welcomes. I don't know that it's necessarily the low road. I think what she's trying to do is limit his ability to soften his image.
What you mentioned are indeed facts, but there are differing interpretations of those facts. Now, to date, Hillary Clinton's probably most famous campaign ad has been the one where Donald Trump is being heard by children and they're reacting.
Yep.
But in the wake of this week, in which Donald Trump said to the African American community, "What do you have to lose? Vote for me," she came out with a new ad. Let's take a listen to that one.
What do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. Look at my African American over here.
Trump management was charged with discriminating against African Americans and breaking federal law.
I have a great relationship with the blacks. I've always had a great relationship with the blacks.
What the hell do you have to lose?
All right, Leslie, I'm going to go to you on that.
Thank you.
My
Appreciate that.
African American, the blacks, inartful language. The ad brings up some troubling messages from Trump in the past. Is this damaging to him?
The messaging is cringeworthy. There is no doubt, whether he's talking about African American or Hispanic. And I agree with Liz on some of those points. You can't roll those back. That's why there are so many damaged relationships with communities of color, even Hispanic Republicans who have disavowed Donald Trump and said they cannot support him. But to be fair and to kind of throw some water on this and some reality on this is he's right about the policies. If you can talk about the policies, the welfare reform of '96, to which Hillary Clinton says is one of the big, the best reforms that she's championed, has hurt, and many, again, in the Black Caucus fought against some of those provisions. You talk about the crimes bill. We saw a lot about that and how it created massive prison camps that disproportionately affected communities of color. That you can go on and on, failing schools because of the unions. These policies have not worked for inner city and poor communities. And that's a fair and legitimate debate to have. But again, we're getting lost in just this inarticulate way to say it, and quite honestly, in many ways, offensive way to say it.
Liz wants to jump in, and I'm going to come to you in a second, but I have one more follow-up here now for Leslie. The campaign ad focused on Trump's message to African Americans. Trump has been reaching out to that group, but he's also looking to pick up some Hispanic votes. He polls very, very poorly with African Americans, slightly better with the Hispanic community. He had a roundtable today with some Hispanic leaders. Do you think he has a better path there?
Absolutely. And that's because Republicans traditionally get 34.5% of the Hispanic support for the last 4 presidential elections. There is an opportunity to get some of those moderate Hispanics on board on national security, some of these other messages, economic opportunity, and certainly the VA issue, which is a very big thing for Latinos. So he has an opportunity. He has to be inclusive. He has to outreach. He has to talk about a framework for getting that done, and he has to have Latinos within his campaign infrastructure who can advise him and do the outreach. So anytime I think a candidate is really making inroads and trying to do those things, it looks authentic, and it's a vast improvement from where we were.
Now, Liz, I want to get your reaction here. I have a feeling you're going to tell me that Donald Trump should give up this dream of connecting with minority voters and instead focus on that white base that got him here.
Well, no. First of all, I'm not in the business of giving Donald Trump any campaign advice. I think he should keep doing this. And look, I think it's good for any candidate, and in all seriousness, for any candidate to reach out to communities of color. Do I think that is honest? Do I think that he's being intellectually honest in doing it? No, I don't. And I don't think he can unring the bell of all those offensive things he said throughout the course of this campaign. So I don't think it will be effective. But just going back to Leslie's earlier point, about Donald Trump attacking the Clintons over welfare reform and criminal justice reform, is what the heck is he proposing on these issues? What the heck is he proposing for Black Americans, for Hispanic Americans? He has no agenda. His criminal justice reform plans, I looked it up. The only thing I could find was that he supports private prisons. The private prison industry is one of the biggest backers, and they benefit the most from the school to prison pipeline that has affected so many communities of color. So he's a very, very flawed messenger on these issues.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. I don't know what we'll be talking about next, but I look forward to it. Leslie Sanchez and Lis Smith, thank you both very much.
Thank you.